B'Shem Hashem. Chodesh Tov, Rosh Chodesh Tov. Bahse, topic of Zehirut. Today, Mesilat Yesharim, and getting to know the second personality of Zehirut person. We dedicate today's shur Refuah Shlema for the Cholim Mechlanam Mehnaz Miriam Bat Malka Muluk Malka Refuah Shlema Refuah Danishur Refuah Guf Berama Kol Varav Shasa Gidab Elna Refan Allah Israel. So this is the topic that many of us always looking forward. Zerizut, I have no problem. But Zehirut, to be careful, vigilant, Havas Jam, aware and awareness, that might be a little bit hard. Page 71. Because sometimes we don't mind free ride. Let's take it easy. Let's not have OCD. Let it go. Don't be so mahmir or so sensitive. Is okay. And we, as we said last time, we settle for the minimum. Instead of aiming higher, we settle with the minimum. So let's get to know the second personality that Ramchal is introducing us. The other personality was he's always looking for shalamut, perfection, and he's not comfortable for less than that. You want to make sure he does the right thing. He's not happy with shortcut. Now we come to the second personality. Ach la pehutim me'ele tiyeh ha'ara lefi habhanatam vehu lefi inyan hakavot asher hem mit'avim lo. Sometimes we mix Torah and self-interest together. As long as, yes, giving me, making me a little bit more famous, known as a Shomer Shabbat, Shomer Kashrut, Kemach Yashan, as long as is giving me the higher title, people get to know me by this term better. Why not? Yes, I want to be Shomer Shabbat. I want to be Shomer Kashrut. I want to only have Kemach Yashan, Chalav Israel. My carefulness, my kind of awareness is based on my self-interest, not Leshem Shamayim. And obviously, many of us, we are very worried about the wedding and marriage of our children. So therefore, we try to act and behave more normally and more carefully in order that our children could have a good marriage, good customer, good reputation, good resume. So therefore, obviously, in a more kind of a close community, since everyone knows about each other life, and they go to the same shul, they go to the same yeshiva, they go to the same everything. So they have to be very careful, because once they come out of the house, they are under magnifier. Everyone is watching them. And this way, they judge them based on their look, or they act, they believe, or whatever. And that's why sometimes they have to adopt and add certain mitzvot in order for them to be considered part of the group, part of the neighborhood, part of that tribe or whatever. Because otherwise, they would tell them, oh, you are different than us. And who's going to marry my daughter? Who's going to marry my son? So we have to look the same in order to have a same benefit. So it says over here, Ramchal, those on a lesser level than these, which the first group that we mentioned, their inspiration might be achieved according to their level of discernment. What kavod or value or honor they get. וזה כי זה פשוט אצל כל בעל דעת שאין המדרגות מתחלקות בעולם האמיתי, שהעולם הבא אלא לפי המעשים. And it says this is very simple and clear and understandable for everyone who has a common sense, that the levels in Olam Haba, Olam HaEmet, the true world, Lefi HaMa'asim, is according to our action. ושלא יתרומם שם, אלא מי שהוא רב המעשים מחברו. And how can someone be higher than his friend? Someone who is ma'asim. His action is higher than his friend, is more than that. بأشر هو مئات همعasim, and if he has less kind of activity and misbod and ma'asim tovim, hu yihyeh hashafel, he will be lower than him. So we see from here, is not really up to your self-interest, is up to your ma'asim, ha leshem shamayim, and how true are they. This motivation is as follows: that according to them, it must be based upon the concept of the honor that they crave. Sometimes people, they don't do, or they do certain mitzvot, or let's rephrase it differently. Certain people, they don't do certain averot. They don't say, for example, gossip and lashon hara, not because of the mitzvot. Is not according to their dignity to talk about these things. Is not because they are careful, they have a zehirut, because that they have to be careful. Is because I'm gonna lower my dignity if I talk about Lashon Hara, if I say these things, if I dress up that way, my self-interest, my kavod, my honor is gonna be missing. Not because of Torah said, not because of this, not because of that, not because of just to be zahir and careful and do what Hashem asked me. No, it's not in my honor to get involved in these things because I'm my own self-interest of value. So therefore, Harav says, everything is according to ma'asim, what you do is accordance with one's deed in the world. And that only one who has more good deeds to his credit than does his fellow will be the higher in status there. And also, he who has fewer good deeds to his credit will be the lowly one, will be lower. So in other words, whatever your intention and your motivation is to be zahir, to be careful, if that zahirut does not bring the person to ma'asim tovim, to be a better person, to act better, that zahirut has a less value. Many people, they are careful about virus, careful about this, careful about that. But accordingly, since they are careful, they also act accordingly. They wash every fruits they want to eat. They don't kind of shake hand. If they do, they wash their hands. So it's not only they're only concerned about the virus, proactive, they also do something about it. Same thing it says, according to Torah, is not enough just to be concerned or worry about averot. We have to do ma'asim, proactive. We have to do something about it. Im ken, eifo, ech yuchal ha'adam, להעלים עיניו ממעשיו או למעט השתדלותו בזה, אם אחר כך ודאי יצר לא בזמן שלא יוכל לתקן את אשר יבטו. If we start everything because of my honor, my kavod, if my zehirut is based on my self-interest and self-perspective, my zerizut, my ma'asim tovim, my misvot, those also will be according to my situation and status. Since we are kind of one of the famous or known or millionaire in the area, we should not just, for example, have kippah when we walk in the street. We should not just do these things or do that, because our honor does not allow. Even though Hashem requires, our honor does not allow. And this is what the Ramchal tried to say. If your zehirut does not bring you to zerizut, if your zehirut does not make you feel committed and responsible, I have to do misvot, I have to do ma'asim tovim, is not just to sit back and not to do avera. I have to do misvot as well. If the zehirut does not give you enough awareness and purity and open-minding that I am in different level, all my goal is getting more kadosh, holy, v'shochanti betocham, and to have Hashem among me. If the zehirut is not coming from the right source, you don't feel committed, responsible to do mitzvot, maasim, because everything is based on our honor, our kavod. And because of that, how a person can close his eyes and ignore ma'asab, his action, and to kind of reduce his effort and ishtadlut, which we know for sure that's going to be hard for him when he cannot fix or make up what he has damaged. And there are certain people, means Petaim means petty, ablah, dumb. There are certain dumb people which all they ask just to make it easy for them, looking for kula. Make it easy, make it shortcut, something not the correct and complete. שיאמרו למה נייגע עצמנו בכל כך חסידות ופרישות. That they claim, why should we work so hard to be mahmir, to be careful, to be aware, to be vigilant? הלא די לנו שלא נהיה מהרשעים הנידונים בגיהינום. They settle for minimum. Isn't it good enough? At least we are not Russia. We are not in that category in Gehinnom. All right, Gan Eden, no problem. Any place is okay. Why should I be in the higher level? Why should I be perfect and shalem and complete? Little misra, little zehirut, little here, little there. It's good enough. They don't expect enough from themselves. אנחנו לא נדחות עצמנו להיכנס בגן עדן לפני ולפנים. Okay, as long as we are in Gan Eden, in paradise, beginning more closer, more lifnaim v'lifnim, in inner rooms, that's okay. Any place is okay. We are not pushing ourselves to be the top student in the class. Average also is okay. As long as my average is what? 70, 75. As long as I could pass the test, not necessarily I should get 99, 100 or whatever. 75, that's also good. Average, I'd like to pass. Even though we might not get the big part of big piece, big space in Gan Eden, at least we will have a small part. At the end is Gan Eden. That's good enough for me. And we shouldn't make really our life miserable and hard to do mitzvot, to be careful about every box or everything, every that. Let's make life easy. Any part of Gan Eden good enough. We are not picky. That's good. So they are underestimating themselves. They are demanding less. They are willing just to do partially in order to have minimum part in Gan Eden, as long as it's Gan Eden. So it says, Ramchal, this is something that in business, we never do this to ourselves. I read in Sefer Alun Shabeach from Harab Zilberstein, who, as you know, he was a son-in-law of Yosef Shalom Yesharim. And he is Bajanag Harav Chaim Kanievsky. Bajanag Yeshua Kharshi. Bajanag. So he has a very big yichus and very himself is a very big Talmid Chacham, many Sefarim, Harav Zilberstein. So someone asked him that he is a Avrech Kolel, and on certain days of the week, he goes and he teaches certain families in different parts of Israel, Torah, Mitzvot, try to do Kirub, Mekarev them. So his question is like this. The only time that I have is, for example, certain time of the nights, not during the day. And those places that I go when I want to come back, or even though I'm in that area, is not a safe, that much area. Is it dangerous of terror, dangerous of mugging and robbing? So his question was from Harav Zilberstein, if he should put himself in danger to do this mitzvah, if it's required, demanded from him. So after back and forth certain details and questions, he got two answers, one from Harav Kanievsky and one from Harav Yosef Shalom Eliashib. I just tell you what he got answered from Harav Yosef Shalom. Harav Yosef Shalom Eliashib told him very simple. If you would have had business appointment in that area on that time, is still you would have gone. Same thing here. But if you were ready to give up your business appointment because of the situation and the danger or whatever the circumstances is there, then okay. Sometimes when it comes to business, self-interest, some other things, we are not afraid or scared or tired or anything. We go ahead. But when it comes to mitzvot, Torah, and spirituality, all of a sudden, we come up with certain excuses, which common sense makes sense. This is what Ramchal is saying. Why, when it comes to Gashmiut, we want to make our 100, 200, or 200, 400, or 400, 800. We want to always go higher and develop and increase our Gashmiut. But how come when it comes to Ruchniut, we are happy with minimum? All of a sudden, we become Ashir, Sameach Vechelko. I'm happy with few mitzvot. He says, this is the second category, that they know their potential is higher. They know they have more opportunity to be greater, but they stop themselves purposely that here, up to here also good enough. They don't push themselves, they don't demand, they don't value themselves in eyes of Hashem. They value themselves in eyes of others. That in our kavod, in our status or cycle that we live or neighborhood, that's also good enough. So therefore, Harav saying, What are we missing here? With every zehirut that we kind of compromise, we are missing and compromising zerizut, motivation, and ma'asim, an action that we could do. So more zehirut will give you more zerizut. Less zehirut give you less zerizut. He says this is the formula that automatically, by not being careful enough, make us not active enough. And if we see at certain age, at certain circumstances, at certain time, how come I'm not that active anymore? How come I'm not proactive or looking for misvot anymore? How come? Because my sensitivity, my zehirut, my carefulness kind of got a little bit lower. I'm okay now with this. I'm okay with that. Doesn't bother me anymore this. Doesn't bother me anymore that. I'm getting used to it. It's okay. So what? This, that. They say about Harav Chafetz Chaim. About Harav Chafetz Chaim, who, I don't know, he was in Europe, he was in Poland, and he saw someone driving on Shabbat. Those times could be car or could be carriage or caravan. And he started to cry and cry and cry. They asked him, how come? Harav, why are you crying? He says, I'm crying for myself. He said, yourself? You didn't drive, you didn't do anything. The other guy was doing it. So why are you crying for yourself? He says, because this is the second time I see someone. The first one that I saw, I fainted. Now I just saw it, nothing happened to me. I'm crying for myself that I got kind of less sensitive. Now I'm getting a little bit used to it. I'm crying for myself, not the other. And unfortunately, with so many things which go around, and even we don't want it, but automatically, by force, we get involved. Someone, friend, sends you a clip. You don't know what is it, a friend, good friend. You didn't expect anything. Why not? Let's open it. Something that is not for Torah family. It's not for. But yeah, was funny, was this, was that. But little by little, the sensitivity, it goes away, fades away. Why? Because here and there we see, we hear, we watch, with this, with that. It becomes kind of a little cloudy and not anymore clear cut for us that we cannot do this, we cannot hear that, we cannot say that, it gets a little bit, especially when it comes to business in the office, in the market, at the show, in this, in that. Certain things should be allowed. I mean, you cannot just certain things should be allowed, and we make it a little bit less sensitive, less zehirut, because environment is different now. We are in different environment. I have to make a sale, I have to make a deal, I have to get the customer, I have to this, that. So less zehirut, little by little, less zerizut. And it packs other perspective that we have to. So this is what Ramchal is saying. Unless you don't hold your zehirut tight, your zerizut, your perishut, your hasidut, any other levels you name it, is all relying on your zehirut. You want to have a zerizut, you need still to have a zehirut. You want to have a perishut, still your zehirut has to be higher. You want to have hasidut, still your zehirut should come with you as well. You want to have nekiyut, still your zehirut should go. It's not just I start with zehirut, I just continue the rest. No, zehirut comes with every level that in Mesilat Yesharim explained that you could get to. Until you get to Ruach HaKodesh, your zehirut is here. So as you grow your zehirut, you let yourself grow in higher level as well. First zehirut, then other levels. First zehirut, then as you let your zehirut. And this is what people who are so zahir, I heard this many times from Rav Ben Haim, even they cannot smell a non-kosher food. They are so sensitive. And if it happened that by mistake, they eat, they know something wrong, they throw up. Then they find out later, oh, that was not according to your level of kashrut or something. Their zehirut is protecting them. The story I heard from Rav Don Segal, I don't know if you know him, you heard of him, Rav Don Segal. He was for a few years Mashkiach of Mir Yeshiva. Now he's in Ponovich in Israel. I had the zechut many times to be by his drashot when he was here in New York. He is the one who almost for past 40 years, he did not look at the woman. His Rav Don Segal is very careful about this. Once he had to go from New York to New Jersey somewhere, let's say those who know 25 years ago, the 42nd Street in Manhattan. So he had a private driver and with the tilted windows, everything. As this driver was a traffic here, there, he had no choice to take 42nd. And obviously he was learning throughout the whole ride. All of a sudden he says, what is here? And as soon as the driver realized that, he kind of has a feeling that in the tilted car closed that he cannot see outside, he feels the avira, he feels all of a sudden he changes to the different kind of street, side street, just even though traffic doesn't matter, not to be in here. He said, no, but he feels it. Sensitivity, his purity, his zehirut give him signal. And as you know, it says in Masechet Berachot, Hakol bidei shamayim, chus mirat shamayim. Everything is up to him. But Yirat Shamayim is up to us. Yirat Shamayim is a muscle that you work out, and you make it grow stronger. Yirat Shamayim, by zehirut, by more zehirut, you let your Yirat Shamayim grow, as Ramchal explained in the first personality. But in Masechet Ketuvot, it says, Hakol bidei shamayim chutz misinim upahim. Everything is up to him. Any sickness, any virus comes from him. Chutz misinim upahim, cold and heat, fever. کسی که سرما میخوره یا گرما زده میشه. Is our problem that we were not careful. But other things is all from him. So Rabbi Brown in Yeshvar Sameach, he was saying, Hakol b'de shamayim chutz mirat shamayim. Hakol b'de shamayim chutz misinim upachim. They are rhyme. What does he want to teach us? A real shamayim, when you come to the room, is as if like cold and heat. The weather, right away you feel it. Oh, it's cold, it's hot. If you could be careful about avonot and about things like the weather, as you come, you could feel it if it's hot or is it cold. As soon as you touch the book, you realize if it's good or not. You could have such a sensitivity to kedusha and tahara, like a weather. Your yirat shamayim is real. But if it's coming to the room, this, that, and still you don't feel the kedusha or the tum'ah, something, your yirat shamayim is not complete. It's like those who have a cold, they don't taste and they don't smell. The food is there, but that sensitivity gone because they got cold, they got sick. That's what Ramchal is saying. Certain sickness or spirituality that unfortunately we lose our sensitivity to averot and we don't do ma'asim tovim because our zehirut is very minimum average. As long as we pass the line, doesn't matter, we are just little bit above the line. Oh, there are people higher. That's good. I'm still, see, I got in. I'm in Gan Eden. Good enough. Small part, whatever, certain misvot, Shabbat, Kashrut, Pesach, this, that. Certain things is good. So, Bezrat Hashem, let's just realize that there is more. Sky is the limit. We could expect higher. And that's why Torah, Rasal Zakut et Israel, give us hirbalahem misvot, so many misvot, in order just to add and to accomplish and to grow. And Bezrat Hashem, we should get to the level Nahail al-Khail and to have the Zechut Shamayim protecting us. Baruch Hashem le'olam. Amen.